My name is Arunav Gupta and I do work with 8tree, which is Ashoka Trust for Research in Ecology and Environment, and presently I am working for sustainable livelihoods with communities in Manas National Park. Earlier I was also involved with conservation and sustainable livelihoods in Kaziranga National Park, which is a World Heritage Site situated in the state of Assam in district Golaghat and Nagaon district of Assam. Kaziranga National Park is a World Heritage Site. It is a national park. It is also the core area of a tiger reserve, an important area for wetlands. The greatest key of Kaziranga is that it has a significant population of 5 big mammals in the world. So it is something which is very rare distinction for the state. It has also significant high density of tigers in the national park. And moreover, it's also an important area for birds. Another important attribute of Kaziranga is that it is also a site which has a lot of wetlands, some of which are recognized by the Ramsar Convention. So, other than this, Kaziranga National Park holds the single largest population of the one-horned rhinoceros in the entire state, and it is also an important cultural place where you see a lot of communities living very close to the national park who are contributing to the protection and preservation of the national park for a long period of time. So a model of community development, community involvement in preservation and protection of the national park is an example. Kaziranga is an example of such a unique model. The local communities generally who stay in the boundaries of the national park are mainly the tribal communities like the Missings, the Karbis, and also the general communities like the Assamese, the Adivasis, the Bengalis. So other than these communities, there are people coming from outside who have settled here like the migrant Muslim populations who are generally the cultivators. All these communities have contributed to the protection and conservation of the national park for a long time. It has been a record of time that this conservation of the one-horned rhinoceros has been successful owing to the close cooperation of the local communities with the forest department. And this has happened throughout the time scale, and this has happened also because the community's close association with wildlife and the feeling of apathy towards the one-horned rhinos, which symbolizes the culture of the state of Assam. So there are significant communities present, and these communities have preserved the national park, and till now you see a long-term role of all these organizations. There are other organizations, and all these organizations work with communities and the forest department to preserve and protect the national park. Given the significant and unique attributes of Kaziranga National Park, there is a lot of tourism potential which can be developed and which is an ongoing process also. The local communities are also part of this tourism potential, involved in the tourism aspect. There is 2 or 3 important things regarding tourism in Kaziranga National Park. One is the involvement of local youths who are generally drivers or jeep safaris, who are also guides, some of the local communities who work with the local resorts and lodges to provide hospitality to tourists who come generally during the winter months. So during the 6 months of the year when the tourism is the tourist season for Kaziranga National Park, you see a significant number of tourists who visit from throughout the nation as well as from outside, and some of the local communities are getting interested in tourism. They are getting involved with these local lodges and providing hospitality to these tourists. But of course, the significant improvement is, we want to see a lot of improvement in this sector, and this can be improved further. The local communities still now have not been able to garner the amount of tourism, amount of benefits from tourism which they should have been. And this sector can be improved further and can be provided with more sophisticated training for local communities, training in hospitality, in management of lodges, and promotion of local homestays and village visits. These type of innovative ideas can really help the local communities to earn a significant amount of livelihood and income from the tourism activities. The cultural diversity of the local communities who stay adjacent to the national park is a significant and very important aspect of the national park, Kaziranga itself. What happens is that these local communities which live just besides the national park, they have unique forms of dances, unique cuisines, unique festivals. So all these things add on to the richness of the national park itself. So whenever tourists come to the national park, they are enthralled and they are very much pleased to see this unique cultural diversity of the local communities. Say the festivals or the unique dresses, all these things are very attractive to the tourists who come throughout from different parts of the country as well as the world and see that Kaziranga has so much to offer in terms of this diversity of human values and systems. What is the unique thing about this thing is that whenever you come, you always find something new about Kaziranga. There may be a new festival going around, there may be some new cuisines, there may be some colorful dresses, or there may be some very new beautifully hand-carved furnitures or hand-carved handicrafts which are unique to this place. Whenever the tourists come and see these things, they like these things and this becomes an attraction for the whole national park. So culture and its diversity is a part of this unique landscape that is Kaziranga. The dynamic ecosystem of the landscape of Kaziranga has got a unique relationship with the river Brahmaputra, which is the lifelong of the state of Assam. The Brahmaputra river's flows throughout the year changes, and this dynamism is also responsible for the changes of the national park's scenes. So whenever in different seasons you come to Kaziranga National Park, you will see a different Kaziranga altogether. It's in the monsoons, you see lots of water bodies, you see lots of animals moving out from the national park, crossing over to the Bhutan, to the Karbi Anglong hills. Similarly, you see in the dry seasons a very different Kaziranga which is deprived of greenery. So the dynamics of this national park and its relationship with the river Brahmaputra has also to do a lot to the cultural life of the communities. The people living in these floodplains have adapted to the ebbs, highs and lows of the river. For example, the missing communities who reside very close to the national park prepare their homes with bamboo, and it is prepared not on this ground but it is an elevated ground which is elevated on the platform of bamboo poles. First, before construction of any house, they have an elevation of more than 1 to 2 meters, and this elevation is prepared through bamboo poles, and then only the house is constructed. So this gives them added leverage when the water rises, so the community houses are not inundated. So this type of adaptation has been used by the local communities for time immemorial, because these communities knew how to live and adjust to the local ecosystem. So the river's flows and the dynamism of the river throughout the year has a unique blend with local culture and also with the national park. The rich biodiversity and the unique ecosystem of Kaziranga has had a very big impact on the life of the common people. If you see the common people, their food habits, their dietary systems, there is a lot of things which you can link with national park itself. If you see the food habits like fishes, fish is generally available throughout the year in Kaziranga National Park because of a lot of wetlands, lot of water bodies which do have a different variety of fishes. Any tourist coming to the national park will like to see, we'll see a lot of different type of fishes. You will see a variety, and this biodiversity is reflected not only inside the national park, but in outside water bodies as well. And because of this diversity, the local communities, you see their culture. There's a lot of fish which is eaten, which is a lot of communities are dependent on fishing, and some of the traders who generally trade with the fish and sell them to the outside markets. So this abundance of pisciculture is because of the unique biodiversity of the national park itself. Similarly, if you see the paddy cultivation of the national park, of the Flint villages, all the paddy cultivated just outside the national park is rich with diversity. There are different varieties of paddy which is cultivated in the land. The land is very fertile owing to the regular alluvial deposits from the river Brahmaputra and the national park's rich reservoir of water which is always draining these alluvial floodplains. As a result, you see a lot of diversity of paddy. People grow different types and varieties of paddy and rice which is eaten throughout the year. This entire region has a unique understanding, a unique variety of fishes, vegetables, of grains, some of the things which are cultivated just in the homesteads. These homestead gardens which have a variety of fruits, vegetables and grains which are cultivated throughout the year. So you see the unique biodiversity of the national park and the ecosystem services which the national park provides is immense, and the local communities do benefit and live according to the ecosystem services provided by this unique ecosystem biodiversity of the national park. The significant aspects of this unique national park, maybe its biodiversity, maybe its cultural diversity, the fauna, the flora, the landscape, the wetlands. You speak of anything about Kaziranga, all these things are unique. And this unique biodiversity has to be protected, and it's our responsibility as the citizens of this globe that we protect this unique natural World Heritage Site. So, if we want to protect this natural World Heritage Site, we have to link up biodiversity with sustainable development. We cannot forget that the local communities who reside besides the national park have their own developmental needs. By ignoring those needs, we would not be able to protect and preserve this national park. So anyhow, we have to link conservation with sustainable development. And this linkages has to be done only when we work very closely with the local communities to promote development, promote sustainable livelihoods, promote unique systems, innovative ideas for their upliftment and improvement of life. The department, as well as other organizations, non-government organizations, are working in close relationship with the local communities to develop these livelihoods, to provide them with alternative means of income generation, to help the local communities to develop, to earn a livelihood through sustainable means. What we have to see is that the local communities' developmental needs are not sacrificed, as well as the biodiversity of the national park is also preserved. And this can only happen when we work together as a team with all the stakeholders contributing to the benefit of the communities and the preservation and protection of the unique biodiversity of national park. Kaziranga is too costly for us to lose, and any means we cannot lose this unique site. So it's high time we all come together and pledge ourselves to preserve and protect this unique national park.